I can't even speak. I can't even fucking speak. Hey, yeah, wasn't expecting that. Wasn't expecting to lose to Iowa. Let that sink in. Lose to Iowa. Didn't even make it to the Sweet 16. No, sir. We didn't even get to the Sweet 16, right? And I guess I deserve this, right? If you watch Friday's reaction, got a little bit too ahead of myself. I was excited about the win, and it wasn't about the team we were playing. It's how we looked, especially coming off that Vanderbilt loss. Started looking a little too far ahead. Hey, I think I'm the reason we lost. I started looking ahead towards Vandy, and they got their ass beat, right? I didn't even think this was even going to be this type of game, right? And listen, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people watching. I appreciate your support. If you're here, if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. This is Talking Gators, Athletes Forum podcast with College Sports Crew. A little speechless, but hey, I'm a power through. Hey, we got to take our medicine. We got a little too excited. We got a little too excited. Before we dive in, as I always say, drop a comment in the chat. We'll get right to it. Oh no, she's here. She's here. Listen, I'm sorry. And sorry may not even do it justice, right? Sorry may not even do it justice. I got Mrs. College Football talking here. She's a UConn fan. I talk some nasty things about the Huskies, and they're at least playing, another week in the tournament. Another week. All right. I got another chat. We're not here to support. We're here to hey, literally I'm speechless. I can't even hide it, right? That type of loss to that type of team, it just doesn't feel right. But let's dive into it. I got to take my medicine. I got to muscle through, right? So, Florida lose a heartbreaker. A heartbreaker 73-72 versus Iowa, right? Now, I was about to come on here and talk some shit. I was about to say, thank God Iowa is not a high power, explosive offensive basketball program, because this game could have got ugly. This game could have got real ugly. Iowa's offense, basketball wise, really mimics their football team, where they struggle to find a point, right? They struggle. Field goals, they weren't good. Threes, they weren't good, right? But they battled through. The game plan for Iowa was simple, right? Slow the pace down a little bit, because Florida, they do like to play fast. Slow the pace down, really start running their sets. And one thing I think they did, if you look at Florida's last game, right, their bigs in the front court really dominated the game. That's well noted, right? So what did Iowa do? They pulled those bigs out to the perimeter, right? Running their motion offense, running their sets, right? Really doing a lot of pick and rolling to get their matchup with the switches, really, but leaving the driving lane open so those bigs can't crash the boards. Iowa did a very good job keeping Florida's big men out of the paint. All right. Overall, they made us work. They made us work for it, right? They made us work for it throughout the whole game. And listen, it was just an ugly one. Our front court, especially in that first half, was terrible. Terrible. Foul trouble, turnovers. Xavier Lee, he was a bright spot, but you could see later in the game he made some big shots, but he still, made some mistakes. All right, and we'll get to that later in the episode. I think what Iowa also did defensively is they went to a 2-3 zone. So again, with our front court, right, dominating the way they did, they wasn't going to allow that to happen. They was not going to allow Florida's bigs to have an impact in the game, or at least early in this game. We had a little bit, we made a little bit of some adjustments in the second half, started playing a little bit bigger, started playing with some pace, right? We'll talk about that as well. But listen, I got to give credit to Iowa, man. They did what they were supposed to do. They really gave it to the Gators. And I hate to say that. Tavion Banks, kudos to him, right? He dropped 20, right? We really limit their guard. What's his name? Off the top of my head, let me see. Let me find his name right here. I think it's Benjamin Sturritz. He's really their sharpshooter, their 3-point shooter. Bennett Sturritz, right? 0 for 9 from 3. So we took their best shooter out the game. We allowed Tavion Banks to be that guy to kind of beat us. And really, it was really just like an ass whooping, right? It was really just an ass whooping. And listen, you gotta give credit where credit is due, right? On the Florida side, I already spoke about Xavier Lee and the type of game he had. He really performed well for us early in the game, right? Especially when our bigs were struggling. But it was good, but it wasn't the type of performance to take over a game, which is kind of what we needed. And I didn't think we were going to need that versus Iowa, right? I listen. His first couple points, he started fast. He was leading the Gators. I think first he scored the first 7 out of 10 points for the Gators, really keeping us close in the game, right? So Lee obviously he performed. We appreciate obviously the efforts he gave us, but overall as a team, this really wasn't our best performance. All right, we got a chat in here. Who we got? My guy Austin. What is Austin saying? When Florida was down by 12 and had to run the court to catch up, was the best they played all game. Yeah, really was. Really, when our backs was against the wall, right? That was really when Florida played their best game, right? And it's just unfortunate that I had to get to that point, right? Florida really should have. I'm not gonna say dominant. I don't want to disrespect Iowa because Iowa they are a good basketball program, right? Obviously, they're in the tournament. They were 10-10 in Big Ten play though, so they were beatable, right? Florida, I don't know, maybe their heads got too big. I don't know. But let's talk about Florida in regards to the game plan and what that looked like and kind of what happened. So, turnovers. We saw what happened in the SEC tournament with turnovers, right? Came back. It came back to play, right? Came back to play. Turnovers were not in our favor this game for the Florida Gators, right? Also, though, what I thought Iowa did was they made Florida a perimeter team. Now, that's not to say Florida can't be the perimeter team. They got some shooters over there, but they really wasn't letting the guards or the ball really get to the lane. Really, they weren't really, the guards and Boogie Flynn and Xavier Lee really couldn't drive and dish or drive and pop to Condon or Chinlelu, right? That part of Florida's offense never really got going. It got too stagnant. It got too drive, had to reset, right? The bigs weren't making an impact. So listen, all in all, like it wasn't a good performance for Florida, right? Kudos to Iowa, as I just mentioned. You could tell though, what Iowa was doing was getting Florida frustrated because Florida really had to slow down their game, right? Florida never really got going until that second half, which we'll dive into, right? And they came out kind of sluggish, right? That's kind of uncharacteristic of as of late what this Florida team was, because early in the year this was a team really trying to find their flow, their rhythm, what type of team that they were going to be, how were they going to overcome tough situations, and this is a team that had the 5th hardest schedule in college basketball, all year, right? So with the bigs not playing well, with the bigs in the foul trouble, with us not really getting going on offense, right? We played right into the type of game Iowa wanted us to play, right? And you saw what happened. Now we get to that second half. Your second half, you're watching, you're like, what the fuck is going on? What is happening, right? All of a sudden, Iowa could shoot. Iowa's getting buckets. I think it was like a 12 or 14 point lead at one point. More turnovers on Florida. It was really looking ugly, right? And thank God they got back into it, right? Because if we were we lost the way we did. I get it. We didn't play well all year, but we got blown out by Iowa. You wouldn't see me on this podcast. You probably wouldn't see me on next week's podcast. I don't know if I could show face talking Gators, right? Getting blown out to an Iowa team, a Big Ten team that can't score in 2 different sports, right? So it's interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see, why and how all that played out. But the timeout happens, right? The timeout happens, right? And Golden's like, listen, you guys are getting punked. It's quoted, it's noted. You guys are getting punked. Ever since then, they start playing the ball. They go more to a full court. I don't want to say press, more of a full court pressure, where they're making Iowa work going up and down the field, right? All of a sudden, Thomas Howell steps up. All of a sudden, Condon steps up, right? He gets, not Condon. Yeah, Condon steps up, right? And he has 10 points in the first couple of minutes in the second half alone. We get to a 55-51 deficit when it was really 39-53 at one point, right? Lee drops one from deep, right? Gator boys stay high. At least I thought, right? At least I thought. And shout out to Flat Jar. with Florida because he really gave Florida a boost. He really gave Florida that confidence, that push, that dog, really to really spark this comeback, right? Spark this comeback to get Florida back in the game. And listen, we grinded. We grinded for the game. Iowa got us, man, right? Iowa guys, we grinded that whole second half, right? Get down to the final seconds, even take the lead, even take the lead, and all of a sudden, the guy that throws the soft, half-handed fist punch at Condon earlier in the game, Alejandro, for whatever his name is, Spanish guy for Iowa, number 7. We lose to him. We lose to him. Out of all the guys that can make a three on that team, out of the one guy, the one sharpshooter that we took out of that game, they haven't shot well all night. And we lose to that guy, right? Again, the guy that threw the half fake punch, right? Dog should have got ejected. It was soft, but he threw the final punch at the end. He threw the final punch at the end. Man, it was ugly. And then Florida coming back down. Listen, we ran out of timeouts. We needed something quick. Xavier Lee has to know there's only 4 seconds. You can't dish it. You either got to go up and hope for a foul, shoot it for 3, hit a step back, but you don't have time to pass the ball. You do not have time to pass the ball. My man passes the ball. Passes the ball. I think that's a moment you could look at any type of athlete and say, all right, they got tight. They didn't have a plan. They didn't really know what they were going to do in that situation. And it played out. It played out. But damn, March. Damn the madness. Damn March Madness. Damn Iowa. We lost to fucking Iowa. Gator fans, I'm sorry. But drop a comment. Let me know how we're feeling. I got an SEC guy here. Let's bring him up. Was a great game to watch. Florida's are playing great. Always go Gators. Always go Gators, brother. And listen, you were right. This was a great game. This really kept you. There's been a lot of great games. You talked about the St. John, Kansas game as well, too. There's been, a lot of great games, over the past 2 days as well, too. And I think we're getting deep into the tournament now. Obviously, Sweet 16, Elite 8, where it's getting close. So we could potentially be seeing more great games. But SEC Jimbo, you're right, man. It was a great game. It was a great game. I'm excited to see what's next in regards to what the tournament's going to bring. I'll be invested because it's March Madness, but, my Gators are out. So with the Gators being out, that only leads to one more question. What's next for us? All right? What's next for us? We got baseball doing their thing, except getting no hit by Bama, but we won't talk about that. We got the spring game coming up, right? I know every Florida podcast I'm on, every Florida fan I'm talking to, we're itching to see what this Florida Gator football product is going to look like, right? So it's going to be interesting to see, right? But we got a lot of people in the chat. I appreciate you guys all here. Drop a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Subscribe to the platform, Athletes Forum Podcast, College Sports Crew, right? On Wednesday, I do a daily podcast, Athletes Forum Podcast, talking Gators. This could come sporadically, right? Whenever there's Gators news, I'm going to pop up talking Gators, right? And listen, I appreciate your support. What is next for our Florida Gators? What do we look forward to? It's got about 24 Saturdays, though, football at least.